This is a moment to be remembered forever. So welcome, ladies. Welcome, women all around the world. I have my sister. She did not know this, but for years I was praying for her until one day God just told me to text her and say, I know you have a lot of people in your life, but I am one. I don't need a lot of attention. God sent me to pray for you. And I take it very seriously, don't I, Yolanda?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
I take it very seriously. And sometimes God will tell me something and I'll share it with her. And sometimes I don't. But I'm honored. Like, honored is a word that I think is used way too often. But I am.
Yeah.
I'm elated. I am tripping, okay, with joy. And I'm just going to say it. I'm not going to use all my SAT words today. I'm tripping with joy. To have the beautiful and stunning, talented Yolanda Adams on the show. So welcome to Woman's Experience 2020. Amidst COVID, we're still making this happen. And we're calling this year, we had to change it up a little bit. So it's called Woman to Woman. So Yolanda, when do you not look good?
Hey, like an hour and a half ago. As I told you, I'm a gym rat, so we're not able to like do the gym thing. So I try to keep my schedule as close to possible as I can, because one of the things, and we'll talk about this later, because with so much stress happening right about now, one of the things that I am so grateful for is that I am a creature of habit.
Yeah.
And that as long as I stay as close to my normal schedule as possible, I don't really think about, oh, well, what about this? My child can't go to school this time. What if what if something happens to our internet? All the what ifs of life. So I try really hard to keep that balance in my life. The meditation and prayer in the morning show from 5 to 9, and then workout after the morning show, some type of movement, some type of strength training, all of that stuff that you and Bishop do, to make sure that you're getting, you are crazy. Don't do that.
Some days I go, why?
Make sure that you're keeping it. Yeah, you got to keep it going.
Yeah, I tell my husband some mornings it's like, I don't want to, but I know I have to because I don't want to bent over and I don't want to be sick at 60, 70. When I met one of my dreams in life, when I was 8 years old, I wanted to meet Cicely Tyson. And
oh my God, isn't she gorgeous?
I wrote it in on my bucket list. I've kept a bucket list since I was like 7. And I wrote it on my bucket list and it literally said at 8, before she dies or I die, I must meet Cicely Tyson. And I met her last year and just to see how vibrant and beautiful, and she stood up for an hour and a half and spoke and was sassy and smart and brilliant and I was like, that's life goals right there, life goals.
Yes. Oh yeah. And she's what, 97, 98 years old? I'm like, you know what? I just love you. I love you.
I know.
And every time I'm in her presence, I just want to hear her talk. I want to hear her, just say something. And I think that's the one thing that you and I always talk about, teaching young women. When you're in the presence of older, experienced women, sit down and listen.
Yeah, say it.
Sit down and listen.
Yeah.
Because they have so much to say. I know you probably rode in a Rolls Royce, but she had a Rolls Royce when she finished Sounder. Thank you very much. You ain't the first one. You ain't going to be the last one. Sit down, girl. Let her spit some knowledge to you. Let her pour into you. And I love those moments with her.
That needed to be said, Yolanda, because this generation, I don't know. I had to tell my son, who's 21, and all of my children are educated and smart. But this middle child feels like he has to conquer it on his own. And just yesterday, I said, young man, the one thing books cannot teach you, one thing education cannot provide you, and that's wisdom. And the only way you get that is people that have lived it, people that have experienced it. So let me guide you. You don't have to suffer when I can teach you in an excellent way. Like, come on, brother.
But the crazy thing about it, come on now, Pastor. The crazy thing about it is, even though we want them not to bump their heads, have to go through the experiences, have to get their hearts broken, have to get somebody to talk about them, we cannot shield them from that, because that is actually where their experience comes in. I give the story all the time. When Taylor was a little girl, you know, we were on the road, and there was this, oh my God, the steamer that the stylist would do to steam out my clothes. Now, you know, to a kid, it looks like something that, oh my God, you know, she's gone to theme parks and water parks. So she, you know, she runs around, stuff like that. And so there's steam coming out, but it's cool. And so I told her, I said, don't run around the steamer because the steamer is hot. Don't run around the steamer is hot. She's 2 years old, you know, okay. She didn't believe me. She had to do it on her own. But guess what? After that first time, she never steamed again.
I'm sure.
So here we are, you know, there are times I wish I could, you know, like the song Nancy Wilson sang, if I could, I'd shield you from all the pain, you know, and all that kind of stuff, but I can't, you know, but I know one who can.
Ooh, that's why you Yolanda Adams. Oh,
you are funny. Uh-huh.
I don't know. Listen, you're the one. Okay, it's so much to discuss with you, because I don't know if you know the copious adoration that I have for you. Like, you are one moving package of awesomeness. So it's just God, and we always say God can't give one individual person so many things, because they may tend to not need God. But I don't know how you and Michelle Obama just got it all. Like, you got the smarts, got the beauty, got the talent. I mean, this is unfair to the rest of the world, but we're happy about it, but it's unfair. And it's just.
Well, here's the thing. We don't even think about it like that, because especially people who are deemed, you know, with all the stuff, the charisma, the anointing, the passion, all of that stuff that comes with what we do, we rely more on God than people even understand. Yeah. Because yes, it's nice, but you know, the charisma and the anointing and the power have to come from God. If it doesn't come from God, then it's artificial. And that artificial thing can be turned on and it can be turned off, and sometimes it can be missing.
Wow. It's so many artists and actresses and actors that just need to hear that. Because my heart bleeds for them to have so much ability and talent and suffer in silence, because they don't realize they have to rely on God.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But you know, the list of accolades, when I looked at them, it's just, the whole show would be talking about what you've accomplished. I said, you know, I said to my husband, where do you begin? Because I was really nervous. I kept saying, I've got to get to myself and talk to God about this interview with Yolanda. My husband was like, why are you tripping? And I was like, this is Yolanda. No, I'm so serious. And I was nervous because I work out too. We work out every day. I bumped up my workout time by 4 hours to make sure I could get with God before this. Because and you know it, because I will call you or text you. I mean, I don't know why I'm emotional right now. I feel like when something great is happening to you, is happening to women all around the world, because you really are a genuine soul.
Thank you.
We meet people on the secular side.
Yes.
On the God, I've met the Tutus and you too.
Yes.
And
exactly.
I am crestfallen to see how insecure they are. And that comes through, it shows up in the world sometimes as anger or elitism. And I don't like it. I don't. Let me tell you, I had to call you that day when I saw you sing at the White House before the exit of President Barack Obama and Michelle.
Yeah.
I was working out in my home gym. I got off of the treadmill to just lay on the floor and go, really, Yolanda, that's what we're doing. We're tearing That's what we do. And I had to call you and go, I can't even work out because this is wrong to sing like this. This man cannot leave his wife for you, okay?
You are hilarious. They are actually good friends of mine. But here's the thing that people, I mean, I've had everyone from Dave Chappelle to Questlove to the BBD tell me, how did you sing Glory like that?
Yeah.
I said, here's the thing. People don't understand when you're talking about glory, there's only one glory.
Wow.
And there's only one glory for me to sing about.
Oh.
You know, we can talk about the glory of, you know, the Super Bowl and, you know, Mahomes getting his first ring and all that kind of stuff. We can talk about the glory of somebody swimming the English Channel. But for us,
yes,
we know what the glory means. It's that thing that shines on us from the inside out.
Wow.
That gives us that illumination that people are drawn to.
Yeah.
And so I wanted them to understand in that moment that this is not about basic glory of the march, you know, across the Pettus Bridge.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is really about the glory of God.
Good.
And if we're going to bring this thing that we call America into some type of balance, it can only be with the glory of God and the way God shines his glory. You know, we can't just do it any kind of way. And so when I started singing, you know, of course, you know, it doesn't automatically start with the glory part.
Right.
But as it escalated, I could feel the power of God saying, now. And it still astonishes me how long the note was sustained to get the message across to everyone in the room.
Wow.
Because it had nothing to do with me. And I always explain to people, when I get up to a microphone, there's a space between me and the mic, which is usually right here. That's the God space. I know God is inside, but then there's something that happens from my vocal cords, my breath, my interpretation onto that mic. There's this space, and you've done it because you preach and you haven't really thought about it, but we can prepare, we can study, we can meditate, we can pray, we can ask God, you know, to, you know, shine down. But when you finally get to that podium and you know the space, because I've seen you do it, the space between you and that microphone, God inhabits that space. We know he inhabits because you're Christ, the hope of. But when that right there, my God, it's just amazing. It's absolutely amazing, and nobody can explain it unless they have that type of experience between ourselves, the microphone, and God's presence just stepping right between us.
Wow. That intentional clarity is why he brought you to the places, with the place where you are, and allowed you to go the places you've gone, Yolanda.
Yeah.
Because we were going to talk about it. Just seeing you sing in that stadium in front of what looked like the world. We're all living through you. Because,
thank you.
And every woman, and listen, we're going to talk about this a lot later with the racial tensions. But
yeah.
Every woman, I tell my children, you can bring home a green person for all I care. If they love God and respect you, it doesn't matter. But you really, in this day, we all Black women live through you because you're gracious. And no, I don't. One thing I don't do is just say words.
Oh, I know you.
I do. And it's true. And you deserve everything. But when I watched you sing for the world at the stadium, I looked at my husband and I said, all right, so where does she go after this? Like, you sang for the president, You sang for,
Yeah.
where do you go? Where does Yolanda Adams go after singing for the president and the first lady
Mm-hmm.
and having
Mm-hmm.
sang? You crossed every genre. It didn't matter whether you were Christian or non-Christian, atheist,
Mm-hmm.
Republican, Democrat, Asian.
Exactly.
It didn't matter. You sang for the word. What, I just need to know, what did you feel in that moment singing? And you got a chance to, even though you didn't sing a Christian song, we still all felt
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. And so I believe you when you say in between you and that mic.
Yes.
Like here, because we still feel the presence of God. What did you feel in that moment?
It's really interesting because in that moment, there was a glitch between the track, what we were hearing, because Demi Lovato had the same problem.
Oh.
Both of our tracks kind of skipped. And so we were still trying to do what we were doing without anyone knowing. And see, that's the difference between a professional who understands how things work and a professional who is unprepared.
Yes.
And so people were like, oh, you look so intense. And yeah, because we were trying to listen. Because there's a part that you have to, because nobody else can hear the track. And the other thing about live performances like that is there's an eternal echo in a stadium that huge.
Yeah.
And so you have to have your in-ears in, and your in-ears are giving you one thing. You're singing the same thing that the in-ears are doing, but people who are looking at you are like, did you lip sync that? No, that was live, because they saw the sequence of what they heard in the stadium as opposed to what they heard on their TVs.
Wow.
And so, I guess the first thing that you think is, oh, Lord, don't let me mess up. Lord, don't let me mess up. Lord, don't let me mess up,
And guess what, though? We're all praying the same thing for you. Lord, please let her shine. Lord, please let her shine. Lord, let them see you in all of this.
And
like,
then the next, and then the next thing is, Lord, let it comfort someone who is, feeling bad. Let it unite people who are on either side of the stand up, kneel, or the kneel, don't stand, or don't come out, or, let it unite people, and let it be one of those moments of clarity that says, you know what? Let me check their side of what this is. And then let me check their side. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to change the way I feel, but at least I'm hearing my brother or my sister out. And I think, and you and I hold the same sentiment with this, I think that's one of the problems that we're having right now in our country, in the world. Yeah. Everybody wants to shout. But okay, I get it. I get it. You're mad. I get it. You're angry. And you're angry and mad for all the right reasons.
Yes.
But if we're all yelling and no one is listening, all we're going to come out with is sore throats and strep throats. That's it.
And no resolution.
No resolution.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because you and I get an opportunity to talk, which is such a blessing, we went right on down. I didn't get to ask my first questions, but I want to ask you one more question about this, because it's interesting. When I asked you, how did you feel singing for the world? You went straight to the logistics of it, which I get that.
Yes.
You went straight to, and that's a lot. I wasn't singing, but I was feeling you. Like, that had to be an abundance of nerves, because you want to be your best, no matter. This is your craft and this is your art. And we know Yolanda sings to the glory. You preach to the glory of God, but you want to be your best, spot on every time. But what did you feel as just a woman, like, because I know for me, I am accomplishment driven. Like, I always have a goal, and I've got to meet the goal. And I can't just meet the goal. I have to exceed the goal. And then we have to have another. So how did you feel? Just Yolanda, not the singer, the artist, the preacher, the business. How did the woman feel like, I'm getting ready to sing for the world? Like, This is how do you feel nervous? Do you feel, I know you feel grateful. I do realize that.
Yes,
But
definitely.
what is that tsunami of emotional feelings in that moment? Like, this is really, really about to happen.
I never feel anything like that in the moment because, we're talking 2 weeks of preparation. I had to be down in Florida a whole week before to practice and make sure that Secret Service knew who I was and all of that kind of stuff. So I got a chance to practice like 4 times. So, on different days.
Okay.
But, and this is me personally, I don't know how anybody feels about, what they do. I never get nervous until afterwards when I can actually physically see what I did.
Wow.
And I'm like you. I am so, task driven.
Yeah.
And so task accomplishment driven that, once it's done, I'm like, oh, okay, good. We did that. It's not until I see a replay of it and I'm like, I could have did that. I could have did something like that. I could have, and it's so bad. It's so bad.
So bad. When the rest of us are going, so you did that.
Right. It's not like, that was good. I'm excited, blah, blah, blah. And it's not until you hear from, a Beyonce, a Jay-Z, a Kevin Hart, those people, Steve Harvey was in our suite, he and Marjorie. And he was like, sis, you did that. When they said Yolanda Adams, I'm like, I thought we were just in your suite and we were just going to have, fun in the suite. He's like, man, you did that, sis. And so he's saying, you look so good. It's like you're aging in reverse. I'm like, well, thank you, Lord.
You gotta be careful with Steve. Steve got an eye.
No, but that's my brother. I have known him.
But he always compliments.
Oh, God.
Goodness of you. I know in one of his comedy sketches, he talked about you.
Yes. And can I tell you, he's always trying to set me up with somebody. I'm like, hey, stop. I want you to stop. I want you to stop. He and Marjorie, they are when I tell you the consummate matchmakers, yes, they are. Stop it.
Well, let me take this conversation back to the beginning now.
Yes. Yes.
Since we kind of talked, we just went right on in. But
of course, you know how we do.
This is how we do. But I want to go all the way back. Because it was, my husband and I were bantering about it today, and he thought it was earlier, but I remember having my first son, and I was going off to law school, and I had my son, and you were coming to Jericho Baptist Church.
Right on the expressway. Yep. You can see it from the expressway.
That's exactly right. 1996, and you were coming for Live in Washington. And
yes.
What you may not know is we had at that time, my a shout out to my amazing in-laws, Apostle Betty, Bishop James, but our whole family, the Peebles family and the church family, we were scurrying around like the president was coming and Yolanda was coming. I mean, everything had to be right. And I remember that night, I was like 22, I think, or something like that, 22, 24. I remember the adulation in the air that Yolanda Adams was coming. And we wanted lights right, mics right, everything. We brought in stuff that the church didn't have, just so it could be right for you.
Right.
And I just remember that. And you were singing all these amazing songs, The Battle is the Lord's and Through the Storm, and all your amazing list of great songs. But what did that night, because we know what it meant to us, but what did that night mean to you?
First of all, Jamie was, he was like one of my best friends. And yeah, I mean, and I know, I feel a certain kind of way because, and she was like, no, he's my best friend. Okay, all right. But what was so amazing to me was that he gave the church so freely.
Yeah.
Whatever you guys need, we're just excited.
That's
because
true.
we actually I think we had lunch, and I was expressing that, it's time for me to do a video, and I don't know, and of course she was like, yeah, and we got to find a place and things like that, and Jamie was like, hey, y'all coming to my church. I'm
That
like,
was Jamie.
you, first of all, you didn't ask Bishop. You didn't ask, you didn't ask Apostle. You didn't
Right.
ask, of course, they weren't Bishop and Apostle
Right.
at the time,
Exactly.
but you didn't ask anybody.
Exactly.
So he's like, no, they love you. We love you, blah, 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 on and on and on. He's like, and we're going to have this and this and that. And he started just, because he was a production kind of person.
Yeah.
He knew what would look good. That is still one of my all-time favorite productions, because not only was it beautiful to look at,
Yes, it was.
the sound was amazing, but people don't understand that before you see anything we do, there has to be a heart for what we're about to do. And so as soon as, even when we did the walkthroughs,
Yeah.
the love that we felt from just walking into the situation, just walking into the church, walking into the green room, walking into, backstage and all of the stuff where the choir was going to be, and all the, I felt at home.
Aww.
Away from my own home church,
Wow.
And so there are very few times that I feel that. And remember, where were we? We were at the arena. And we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later.
You saw so
there are few times when I feel that, and I just felt like, man, I am free to be all that I am supposed to be as a woman of God and as an artist in this same building. And so it just felt so good. And you guys gave your youth choir to us, and it was just, oh my God. And on the Save the World, where the kids came up, I'm like,
that's so true.
I know.
That's
and
a night remembered.
Yeah, and so when people ask me, which, who are my favorite people in that area, I can't help but talk about y'all.
Oh.
It was life-changing, and it brought all of us together.
Yeah.
There was no, because the Peoples family, there's somebody in that area, And so I'm like, uh-oh. And so, to me, it was just like, wow, I love this. I absolutely love this.
Yeah. Well, I want to tell you a fun fact. I don't know how fun it is. It's actually, it wasn't fun then, but it's fun now.
Right.
So I was about, I think 21, 22. And I had I had to be 24 because I just met my husband. Anyway, I was working in the front office, and I used to write my mother-in-law's books. I would take her sermons and I would turn them into books for her. Most people don't even know that I did that. So the night you were coming, the energy was electric in that church. Like all the leaders, all the church families, like everybody was scurrying. Yolanda's coming, Yolanda's coming. And I was in the office, just, doing what I do, pedaling around. It was late in the night, and you had not yet arrived. And I won't say who, but someone on your team was on the phone in the office. It was just that person and me. And I was young. And I heard them, they were saying some things, but this is what got me. They said, girl, the church is in the hood. When you get to the hood, you're there. And I said, oh no, I went to tell my—
I can just about tell you I know who that is.
And I was crying. I was young and a lot more sensitive then. So I ran to find my husband, and I said, Yolanda might not come tonight because she's going to find out that we're in the hood.
And guess what? They weren't even talking to me.
I don't know who they were talking to, but I just
Yeah,
said,
they weren't even talking to me. They were talking to one of the background singers.
okay.
And then here's the thing. So when I come in, my attitude is totally different.
I'm sure. But I was
It's like,
scared that you weren't going
like y'all ain't never been nowhere, child. No, this ain't hood.
right.
No, I can Cabrini Green in Chicago. That's hood.
Okay.
Now it's of course multi-million-dollar townhomes and condos and stuff. No, that's hood. No, trying to make sure you can get to your limo between gunshots. Nah, that's hood.
I just know, I remember I was telling my husband, I said, I'm going to tell Yolanda about this. I said, my only concern was I was crying. I was so young and sensitive. And I said, I don't think Yolanda's coming because she's not going to want to come to the hood. And I would say, what should we do? But it's no one felt any way about it. I just,
yeah, whatever. And they're not employed either. So
no.
That's fine. They're
cut
not employed
it out.
anymore. So yay. Nah.
But anyway, on the car ride from the airport was when we had the discussion, you and my husband, about being an elementary school teacher. And
Yes.
so with all of your education, and I know just from knowing you, those children had to love you.
Aww.
I remember my third grade teacher, that's the impact
Mm-hmm.
on me. So I know they loved you. So what was
Yeah.
it for you? Because I remember the exact words, pray for me that I can minister full time. Those were the exact words. What was it for you, Yolanda, to leave behind, not that you left your education, but
No.
later? What did it mean?
Yeah.
Were you fearful? Were you reluctant to say?
I was torn.
Okay.
I was torn because I loved what I did. I thought that I would be teaching during the week and traveling on the weekends because, there was not this thing until I started getting back late to school. There was not this thing where in my mind that I was like, oh, I can do this full-time, travel the world and be this, blah, 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 blah. It wasn't that. I knew that I loved teaching. The only teaching actually was like my second choice because my first degree is in radio, TV journalism.
Oh, wow. Well, no wonder you were so good on your syndicated program. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so when I couldn't get a job in the city because I'm the oldest of 6 kids. I was going to help mom out. They said, oh, you need to move to Austin. You need to move to Boston. You need to move here. You need to move there. I'm like, I ain't doing all of that.
Yeah.
I am not. And so I went back and I got my degree in education. Wow. And fell in love with the kids, fell in love with the fact that I could teach during the fall and spring, and then the summer, I had my summers off to travel. So it was perfect for me. And having to make the choice, man.
Wow.
I'll never, I went back that 7th year, because I was being real spiritual and deep. Lord, if you let me finish 7 years, it's your number of completion. I'm telling the Lord about his numbers.
Right.
Really. His numbers. And so and if you let it's gonna be this and it's gonna be that, and God's like, okay, I'll allow whatever you want.
Wow.
And that last year was the hardest year, which was why I was praying, which was why I asked y'all pray that I can do this full time. Because that 7th year, that was when I had the performance on Jay Leno. And so a whole lot of stuff changed at the school. People's mindsets were like, because everybody is fine. Everybody was fine with me doing churches and theaters and stuff on the weekends because, she's our little gospel star. Oh. And so, yeah. But then when you could see me on Jay Leno, the biggest night show ever,
Absolutely.
then it changes things. Oh, well, wait a minute, she's about to pass us. Because see, they didn't know, they just thought that I was going to because everybody's idea of church
Yes.
and engagements are different. Somebody thinks, oh, she's going to sing for a group of 20 people. That's so sweet. Let her go on and do that on the weekends. And they didn't know the magnitude of what I was doing. They didn't know the magnitude of the people I was traveling with either.
Wow.
So it was cool. They didn't know I was making more money on the road than I was teaching.
Right.
So, I never changed anything about, my appearance, my car, my house. I didn't do any of that. I was saving up that money. So just in case. Yes. And then they were like, so when I came back from California, I didn't make it to class on Monday because, flights then there were not red eyes and stuff the way they are now because you have more people traveling. Tuesday, when I got there, several people, including the administration, was like, so what are you going to do? I'm like, what do you mean, what am I going to do? Well, it looks like, with your performance and everything, you're doing, I'm like, hey, listen, I'm still going to teach. I'm still going to do this, blah, 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 blah. And so that year was pretty hectic. Wow. Because, with that type of exposure, folks everywhere want to, okay, well, we want her to do this. We want her to do that. We want her to sing here. We want her to sing there. And now the rest is history.
Yes.
Wow.
That's a beautiful story. I know. How did because students really get attached to their instructor when they're good. And I'm sure they loved you. What was that last day like for you with the students?
The last day was really different because, all of my kids were advancing to 4th grade. Okay. And I really did not tell them that I wouldn't be back because, I didn't want them to, be depressed about 4th grade.
Right.
But I think some of them knew because one of my students, Corey, really good student. He was one of those kids that nobody really paid attention to, but he was really, really smart.
Yes.
And, he was the tallest, he was the fastest, he could do all of, he played football, did all of this stuff, but really shy. And, I had gotten him to, we would do little oratories.
Okay.
In 3rd grade, because I wanted them to, I wanted them to come from the inside and understand who they really were and understand their voice had power. Nice. And so by the time school was out, that last day, Corey said, Miss Adams, you're not coming back, are you? I said, huh? He said, you're not coming back. I can feel it. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you're a star now. I said, no, that's not the truth. He said, Miss Adams, it's okay. But, he said, it's okay. I was hoping you would be my 4th grade teacher. I'm like, I can't take over the 4th grade people's classes. They already set in stone. But that was so sweet. And so now I have a bunch of entrepreneurs, a bunch of doctors, a bunch of lawyers, a bunch of teachers and nurses. And, now I see their kids and, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm just so proud of y'all. So I know that what I did at that moment for that season poured enough into them that now they're teaching their kids the power of their voices. Right. And not in the way of singing. But in the way of projecting and speaking and being able to handle different situations.
Yeah. Have you ever found Corey? Have you and Corey ever met again? Do you know?
I saw Corey. Oh my gosh. When did I see Corey? Had to be about 7 years ago. He and his little family were at the grocery store. No. And I got a chance to.
Yolanda, you go to the grocery store?
Girl, yeah. I'm regular.
I don't know how Because I know
Look,
for Bishop and I, people, you can't move about the way you like because people,
yeah,
you know, they want you to save their life in that moment. And I respect that. So I
yeah.
don't know how you move. The world doesn't know me. They know you in China, Beijing, grocery store.
Look, I look like I'm in a rush. I always look like I'm in a hurry because I have my workout gear on,
Okay.
and you know, I'll pass through Whole Foods or Trader Joe's. I have like 3 go-to stores. And so, you know, they know me and they let me, you know, and it's not a whole bunch of people or whatever. But yeah, I saw Corey and his little family. Oh, they look so happy.
Wow.
And he told his wife, he said, "This is the teacher that changed my life. She's the best teacher I ever had." I'm like, oh my God.
That is so, that's a moment right there. That's
Yeah.
there. So let me move forward because I have an hour to love on you and to pick your brain. And my husband said, "Don't you hold her more than an hour." So I'm trying to keep my little happy home over here.
Yeah.
But listen, this is I would call the mantra of life. This song,
Yeah.
the staple for whether you know God or not. I guarantee you, there's some atheists out there
Oh yeah.
that this song right here touched their life.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. And today when I was kind of going over my questions, I said, Yolanda, read the lyrics. Because if you don't read the lyrics, I end up singing it. And I'm definitely not going to do that in your presence. That's what I'm not going to do. I'm one of those shower singers. Me. So the word, open my heart.
Yes.
The lyrics of the song, Alone in the Room, it's just me and you. I feel so lost because I don't know what to do. Now, what if I choose the wrong thing to do? I'm so afraid. I'm afraid of disappointing you. So I need to talk to you and ask you for your guidance, especially. See, this is when you want to start singing. So I got to now.
Yeah.
Especially today when the world seems so cloudy. God, please guide me until I'm sure. I open my heart. And this is the question I want to know from you that I've been wanting to ask since the first day I heard this song.
Yeah.
Did you write this song?
Yes, I did.
Oh my.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
Where were you? What was like this up?
Take a chair, get some coffee, because we gonna talk for an hour now.
Where's my TV people?
I was literally in my office at my old home, and I had been asking God about a situation, because here's the thing, and that people don't get with folks like you and I who are in the public eye. It seems that
I have to pause you right there. That's so precious. You said like you and I. I'm not in the public eye like you.
Goodbye. Let me finish. God, you are. You are. Look.
That was so nice and humble of you. But go ahead.
So what happens is people don't believe that we have challenges.
Yeah.
They think because we minister and because we're always seen in such a great light, that we don't have the same challenges that they do.
Yeah.
I had 2 business decisions on the table. My marriage was crumbling. I wanted to make sure that I was making the right decisions for the people that I employ. And I knew that any one of these decisions made wrong could change the trajectory of at least 50 people's lives.
Wow. That's something to carry.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And so when I say alone in a room, I was literally on my office floor crying out to God. I was like, Lord, the house was empty, thank God. I'm like, Lord, what do we do? And I just went into this thing, and something in me just started pouring out, and I just had this pity party, And now in hindsight, it really wasn't a pity party. It was something that had to come out because I am used to, and most of us women are, we're used to bottling, pressing, bottling, pressing, bottling,
And
pressing until
yeah.
it could be something really, really small that makes it erupt, and we got to get it out.
Yeah.
And it was one of those days.
Wow.
And God was so gracious. He let me have my little 15 minutes. And he said, now I want you to write down every question that you just asked me.
Wow.
I want you to write it down, and I want you to write it in a song, and I want you to sing it in a way that someone who didn't even know you, if they're going through something, they know that you understand their pain.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's like, and see, that's the other thing too. With a lot of risk, with a lot of accolades and, you know, all of this stuff that they call stardom, comes a lot of the pain and the anguish and the stuff that we have to go through in order to feel other people's stuff.
Yeah, I think that the genesis of your song, the beginning of the song, just that one line, alone in the room, and I do think, and it's really big for actors and artists and pastors especially,
yes,
because your life is giving, and you're often, it really is alone in the room because you don't know who.
yes,
And sometimes you pour out so much and it's never reciprocated, or it's poured out and it's not appreciated.
Yes.
But you really do. A lot of pastors and artists and do feel alone in the room. So the interesting thing is that God, my husband and I had to talk about this just this morning while we were sitting in the steam room. And we were talking about the life of Tamara and how, you know, she was raped by her brother. Mm-hmm. And I just asked him the question, and I just wanted to pick his brain.
Yeah.
Why would God allow Tamara to go through such a horrific, because she says the rape wasn't the horrific part.
Right.
It was the fact that in that day he left her, he abandoned her. So now no one else was going to want her.
Exactly.
And so I just wanted to hear his thoughts on why would God allow it. I know what I thought about it, but according to this song, we really do have to go through and experience in order for God to pick us up and we tell the story so someone else can get through it. Because that's why I began this question with, I know atheists around the world heard this song.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've had them tell me that. Yeah.
Really?
Yes. I've had people come to my concerts who were atheists, witches, Wiccans, all kinds of stuff. I didn't believe that this God thing was, you know, what it is until I sat in a concert with you and I felt what you said. I'm like, well, how do you feel now? You know, because people are shocked that, you know, you are still receptive to having a conversation with somebody not like you. Right. That's the whole point of living. You've got to deal with people that are not like you. When in the world did Jesus ever say that we would have this homogenized society? He never said that. Yeah. And we're the quickest ones as Christians. And I'm just gonna, you know, say, because I've been in the church all my life. I don't know nothing but the church. I don't know the club. I ain't never sang at the club. I, you know, don't know that. So I'm talking about us. I've seen us since I was a knee-high to a pup. Yeah. And one of the things that we tend to do when we're talking about being a light and being all of this stuff is that we tend to try to homogenize our environment as though we'll never have the experience of people who are not like us. Yes, I think that's one of the problems, and, you know, I may get in trouble for this. I think that's one of the problems with the right-wing conservative evangelical thing. It's like it never was. When the Pilgrims and the folks came over to escape tyranny in England, it never was Christian. So don't say that America was founded on Christianity, because if America was founded on Christianity, why did y'all murder hundreds of millions of natives?
You're trying to take this to a very dangerous place.
No, I'm just saying, because I'm a firm believer in the power of Jesus Christ. I am a firm believer. You cannot make me doubt the word of God.
Absolutely.
You can't make me doubt it. And so if I am supposed to be like Christ, because Christian means something different in 2020 than it did in 1645.
Right.
Christian means something different in 2020 than it meant in 1999.
It's a fact.
And so if I'm looking at the life of Christ and what he showed us, because he came here to show us how to navigate life successfully with the power of God on the inside of us.
Yes.
That's always my when somebody asks me, why are you a Christian? Because I follow the teachings of Christ. Number one, because he came here to show us how to navigate life with all the anointing and power of God that is within us.
Well,
it's just real simple.
It really is simple.
We ain't got to hermeneutically and homiletically do anything. You see what I'm saying? We don't have to go through all of that. And Jesus, his first miracle was turning the water into wine. At the wedding. So he's okay with you having a gathering. He's okay with you having fun. He's not okay with you, destroying yourself with it. But if he wasn't okay, would he have ever turned it into?
Right. Or representing him poorly. Yes.
And then Jesus also was seen with sinners and publicans. What does that say? Jesus was comfortable around everybody.
He was.
He didn't do what they did, but he was comfortable around everybody. So just because you're in the world, it doesn't mean that you have to be of the world's substance or of the world's thinking.
Absolutely.
That's what makes you different. We're supposed to attract folks to us that are not like us. What do you think light does? It diminishes the darkness. It dispels the darkness. And so dark is going to come to you.
Look at you, teacher.
What kind of lesson are you going to teach them?
And I think you're speaking right to where we are today, because we can disagree, but still have the unconditional love of God.
Yes.
I say that all the time. I don't have to agree with you. What I believe God would have us do is that our light shines so bright, not our words, not our superfluous words, but that our light shines so bright, you find a more excellent way to live your life. It's him. But I don't have to hate you, and I don't have to be against you because we don't agree. So
listen, you know the history of the time of Jesus. So Jesus was so cool. This is how cool he was, and I'm gonna leave this alone. He was so cool that he didn't go after Pontius Pilate. He knew what Pilate was doing in that palace.
Yes.
Come on, you got all them women, and you got concubines, and you got the daughters of those women and stuff. Yes. He didn't have to attack them because their own sin condemned them. So that's why the man said, I have to wash my hands of this because I can't say nothing because I know my sin.
Well said.
But see, we don't get deep into, he never said a mumbling word, and Pontius Pilate said, bring me some water. We know what that ceremony was. That whole ceremony, if you wash your hands in the front of people that, are authoritarian or whatever, that means technically you are washing your conscience and your mouth and your heart of this situation without condemning this man.
That's so good. If we could live a life like that, because I do believe that people are more apt and conditioned to point the finger at all the wrong of other people while they're sitting in the seat of sin. And if we change that and reflect that mirror toward ourselves, it would be a better space to live. I thank God for your, I'm a believer. I am a lover of music. When I wake up in the morning, I pray, my music is on because music can heal a plant. I've seen in a nursing home, I had a woman who hadn't spoken in a decade. And I walked in her room and I got the logistics on her, and they always give me the logistics to tell me if I can pick them up, if I can, whatever I can do. I look on her wall and she has a myriad of pictures. So I study the pictures because I figure this would be a way I could communicate with her. And so I
Yes.
studied the pictures. So I would say, so tell me who's the lady in the white dress and the red hat. And for
Mm-hmm.
3 days that I visited her, she said nothing. On
Uh-huh.
the 4th day I went to visit her, she spoke so much that I ran out in the hall, and none of the workers in the nursing home even believed me. They were like, yeah, right, this lady hasn't spoken in over a decade. I played her music, and
Yes.
I would talk about her pictures. It jumped
Mm-hmm.
something in her. So that is
Yes.
why I thank God for you. And that is why I know he sent me to pray for you. Because when
Yeah.
you write music like this,
Mm-hmm.
and it came out of your place of pain,
Yes.
the devil is angry.
Yes.
Those aces, those witches are going to
Yes.
be delivered because
Yes.
of the lyrics in the music. So I
Yes.
thank God for you. But let me just ask you these last few questions because I think I've held you way, way too long. Lord, help me.
Oh, I'm enjoying it. Come on, sis. We're good.
So this is a question that I really wanted to get an answer from you, and my husband did too.
Okay.
You've been with us, or we technically have been with you for decades, dating all the way back to Douglas Street. You
Yes.
were that first big concert. You actually, I don't know if you know this, when we moved from DC to Maryland, you were
Yes.
the first concert in our Maryland facility.
Yes. I
Um,
remember that.
and then you did, you spoke at our woman's experience and all of that.
Yeah.
But when we were laboriously excommunicated from our church,
Mm-hmm.
that was a very painful season. And
Yeah.
we were
Yeah.
subject to going to hotels and
Mm-hmm.
schools and all of that. But in order for us to bring all of the church family together, certain times of the year, we had to go to stadiums because the schools and the churches and hotels couldn't
They weren't big enough.
house them. So we went
Yeah.
to the U.S., to the Showplace Arena here in
Yeah.
Maryland. You were the first person we invited when that year that we were ousted from our church.
Mhm.
First person. Having been connected with the ministry, with my in-laws and my brother-in-laws
Mm-hmm.
and the whole People's Family in the church, what were your thoughts on, because, okay, let me say it this way. I was more hurt about what happened, not because it was happening to us.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't like the fact it was happening to my children, number one.
Yes.
But I really didn't like what it was going to do
Mm-hmm.
to the people that believed in God and
Mm-hmm.
people that didn't believe. And I remember saying to my husband repetitively, what's going to happen to people that don't believe in God? They're going to look at
Yeah.
and they're going to go, see, that's why I don't want to go to church. That's why I don't want
Mhm.
to have a relationship with God.
Mhm.
Because y'all do worse than what we do out here in the world. So I'm going to stay out here in the world.
Right. I got you.
That was my biggest reason I cried most nights, for people who were in abusive relationships and would never get out because they were looking at this mess. What did you,
Yeah.
having been connected to the ministry for so long, and you were all the way in Texas, but what were your thoughts about what was happening?
I knew it was demonic. And I knew that anything demonic cannot stand with the real anointing.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about anybody's preaching style or anything like that. None of that. One of the things, and you guys know, because I told y'all this at the arena, and I kept saying, God kept nodding me to say, this is not it. This is not the end. This is not the end. It's got to come back. It's got to come back. And I told y'all it wouldn't be immediate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you all would be the retribution would be yours. You would be retributed. Not only that, you'd be recompensed.
Yes, Lord.
Now, where did I get those words for? We don't even use those words in the language, in our language. That had to be the Holy Spirit. It had to be God. And so when I first heard it, because I didn't hear it from you all.
Right.
I heard it from one of the parishioners who called, and they were brokenhearted. Mm-hmm. That all of the stuff that you guys had done for the community, all of the stuff that you had done for even those people. And I said, here's what we're going to do. We're not going to say another word about this because our words shape everything.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
And so the way we're going to shape these words right now is not only will this too pass, it has to be recompensed. It has to be, God is going to get the glory out of this. And every person that tried something is not going to, they're not going to move forward until they apologize and sincerely repent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I cannot, as your sister, be okay with your downfall.
Mm-hmm.
And if women can ever get this,
It's so true.
I should never be satisfied with stepping into something you created as though, oh, well, no, oh, well, that's how it goes. No, I cannot. I'm scared of God. That's the first thing.
That's so true.
I'm scared of him.
Real.
But what I did say was that just like it happened in front of the whole world, God is going to have to use this in front of the whole world to bring it all back, and then bring it back at such a magnitude that nobody can deny it was God.
Good God. That's it right there.
Nobody can deny that is God.
That's right. No, and the reason I wanted to ask you that, because there'll be a lady, a woman, a mother, a grandmother, maybe multiple, that will watch this interview, and they're going through what seems like the storm of their life. I wanted them to hear you say those words.
Yeah.
Because our story is hearing God. It made me a better. I thought I knew how to love. I thought all my life I was like, oh, I love people. Oh, I love. No. You're incapable. An individual is incapable of knowing true love, God kind of love, until it's been tried. Because when
tried and tested, isn't that what the word says?
When they beating you down and leaving you for dead and pick you up and beat you again, that's a different way to express love and forgiveness. So I'm glad you said that, because whomever is watching, I need them to have that hope. I need them to know they're not going to die in that situation. Right. They're not going to die in that marital crisis. They're not going to die. But God is going to turn it around. And it
He is, every single time.
But speak to this for me, because we have a position in that season. Yes. So I want you to speak to the women regarding that, because the one thing we couldn't do, my husband and I never did to this day, we never talked about the people that did what they did. Never. We never.
That's always it.
Never.
That's always pulpit. Whatever you put your mouth on.
You said that first.
You magnify, you know, and you can't magnify the negative. Right. You can't magnify what is temporary, because everything we're dealing with in this present moment is only temporary. It's a temporary part of a long journey that God has put us on to show us how mighty he is.
Good.
I wish I could tell you that my life was totally perfect. I've never had, any problems. I've had all types of problems. I've had financial problems that at the moment seemed horrible to me, but it was actually God protecting me. Just in what, girl, look.
Good God.
Because here's the thing. What we think is so damaging and so hurtful and so disappointing right now will turn out to be the best thing that could have happened to us, because God knows the end from the beginning. And because he knows the end, he knows where you're going before you even get there. As a matter of fact, he's already at the end once you get there. So if you can trust God enough to know that he's sovereign, to know that he's been here before all of us got here, to know how he creates, because he created with his mouth, and God said, let there be, let there be. What is let there be for you? Let there be no sickness. Let there be no marital discord. Let there be no financial deficit. Let there be so and so and so and so. And after you say that, start declaring, I am prosperous. I am healed. I am whole. I'm sound in my mind. I'm stable in my emotions. I am all that God has for me to be. You know, you start saying those things, because whatever you put after I am and whatever you put after let there be, those things are coming into your life. So you don't have time to worry about your haters. That's an old colloquialism that they used to use in the 90s. Let that go. You don't have time to be negative with people who are negative with you, because they don't understand the grace of God. You are here by the grace of God to be a woman right now, knowing what God has. You have so much power as a woman. You know, not only are we the houses of creation, but we are the mental factors and the temperature that keeps the rooms warm and keeps the rooms cool and keeps yes. You know, so girl, look, I know it don't feel good now. Trust me, I've been in some uncomfortable situations. But if there is anything that I can tell, God is never late.
Mm-hmm. It feels like it to us. I want the women to know the truth. It's always going to feel like it to us. But what I want to say to every woman in this moment, and I said it to my children during that crisis, I don't know how. All I know is,
but I do know.
I do know he will do it. That's the
exactly.
That's the part is indisputable. So let's sit in that. Let's just sit in that. I couldn't tell my husband, because my husband always calls me his prophet. And he's like, babe, what is God saying? I'm honest with him. I don't hear him saying anything except I'll do what I said I would do. That's all I knew. And I didn't need to know a lot of other things. For people like you and I, who are very meticulous, and we want it to happen, and we're always planning, God will quickly show you. You can't plan it all.
I got this. Right. I got this. I don't need your help. Thank you for your assistance, but I really don't need it right now. You know?
Well, let me ask you,
the next thing too is start living in anticipation and expectation of the next great whatever.
Wow.
Because here's the thing.
That's called faith.
Yeah, there you go. If we sit in front of something for so long, okay, I'm using these as an example. These are my little iPods.
Yeah.
And, you know, they were giving me a little trouble before. And there may be a reason, you know, it may be a glitch or something like that. But if I constantly look at these and I stare at them for an hour, my total focus is these pods that don't work.
Wow.
If I keep doing it for 2 hours, my total focus is going to be these pods that don't work. 3 hours. All I'm thinking about is the one thing in my life that's not working, as opposed to the 99 other things that are amazing.
Don't make me cry.
Okay.
Because that's so true. I think that right there is going to help so many people, because we have a proclivity to look at that thing.
Of course.
We have a proclivity, but someone needs to say, don't do that.
Yeah.
Look at what, and God is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. He doesn't change. We change. He doesn't change. So I love that you said that, because you're a school teacher. I was a school teacher by choice, because I had 4 children. So during summers, I homeschooled them to put them 2 grade levels ahead of where they would be that next year.
Exactly.
And so I'm a big believer in learning styles. So you can help someone who is a visual learner, who see an example of what could be the tragedy of focusing on that. And I'm glad you picked up the iPod case, because don't we tend to look at things and make these little teeny situations
the biggest thing in our world?
It's almost like it's encapsulated in our life, and we're making it larger than it needs to be, when all God said was, give it to me. It was supposed to be too heavy for us. Just give it to me. But I want to ask you this, because I have to let you go. I can't leave without asking you about my beautiful Taylor. I can't. I can't. I wanted to ask this question The girl is just stunning. I don't know what
Thank
is she
you.
studying at Howard? What is she studying?
She's theater arts and acting.
Theater arts and acting, because I just need to see her on a runway, because she's just
Yeah.
a goddess. Like, the girl is beautiful. And I wrote this quote down. You said, and I quote you, "I truly do have the most amazing child on the face of the earth." I know all parents say that about their child, but
Yeah.
Taylor truly is special. What
Yeah.
makes you feel that way about your daughter?
She is the absolute best of me and the absolute best of her father.
Wow.
And I mean, just totally, I mean, she has the critical thinking, the analytical thinking of a financier. That's what he is.
Okay.
You know, and she has the creative and expressive that I am.
Okay.
You know, and so if you put all of those together with a winning smile and a heart of so much compassion, my child is she feels everything. She, you know, she's been anointed since she was a little kid, you know, and I was very careful of her. I did not want to put her out there and say, okay, you have to sing because I sang, because my mom didn't do that. You know, you have to do this because I did that. No. I wanted to nurture the best young person that I possibly could. And I'm just so proud of her. You know, she'll say, "Mom, so and so and so and so doesn't have this, and that." I'm like, okay, well, what are we going to do about it? Well, I have this much, but you know, I need so and so. Oh, okay, no problem. I got you. You know, not, "Mom, you know, you bankroll all of my friends," but she puts hers first.
Wow.
You know? And so with a kid like that, you just want to say, okay, what do you want? You want a smoothie? I'll make you a smoothie. You want a salad? You know?
It's so true.
You know, and her little heart, one of her friends, you know, and I'm just gonna share this. One of her friends had a really bad year. And, you know, police were involved and stuff like that. And the little girl was just so shooken up, you know, she was shook up. And when she told me about it, she just burst into tears. She's like, "Mom, no one could have ever told me that would have happened to her." And she, you know, for like 20 minutes, she just, you know, "What can we do? How can we help?" I said, "You just have to be there for her. If you're in a room with her and she doesn't want to say anything, you just let her not say a word. If she wants to cry, let her cry. You just let people tell you how to, you know, nurture them and love on them, you know." And to see her like that, I know that she is, you know, she's always been very aware of God's presence inside of her. Wow. And how he works with her. Wow. You know, because, and she's also a little militant too.
That'll work. That'll work.
She's a little militant. She does not like for people to be dehumanized. She doesn't like for people to be mistreated or abused or misused. Oh my gosh, she could run for president when she turns 35 for real, because wow. She has that kind of compassion with people. But that's what I mean when I say she's the best, because I'm telling you, you know, we go through things in life and we don't know why. But you know, and none of us who are divorced want to be divorced. You know, we don't go into marriage saying, "Oh, you know, I have a clause that I can get divorced." No. If somebody had ever told me that by the time I was 58, I would be divorced and, you know, single mom, blah, 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 I'd be like, yeah, nah, because I am a wife.
Yeah.
I am, to the core of me. I love preparing food. I love nurturing. I love assisting. I love all of that. But, you know, and I'm in that season where I don't have that now.
Yeah.
But at the core of me, I am a wife.
Wow. Well,
I am.
Said, is there a love interest?
No. No. God is working on him as he's working on me, and I clean my closets out.
Yolanda, that's beautiful. Let me, because I wanted to ask you this earlier, and I can't leave without asking you, because you kind of touched it talking about Taylor. When was the moment you knew you had a gift? Were you young? When was the moment you went, oh, this is?
You know, it's there's certain times when you feel like, oh, okay, this is special.
Yeah.
When you got to remember, growing up in church all my life, everybody sang, everybody was talented.
Right.
You know, I didn't think I was the most
talented. But they weren't Yolanda talented now. Come on.
Oh, yeah, they were. Oh. I just thought that their work ethic was not there.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, there were some voices that sang they sang in our choir, but they didn't want to rehearse. They didn't want to go and see other people and how they did their craft. They didn't want to go to other concerts. They didn't want to do this because I'm a forever student. You know, I'm an eternal student, and I want to go hear Nancy Wilson and how she, crafts her words and carves her things, and then she makes you see it before you hear it. You know, I love that about her. And I just studied everybody that I sounded sort of like. I studied Nancy Wilson. I studied Natalie Cole. I studied Tremaine Hawkins. I studied all of these great singers. And I'm like, wow. I studied Stevie Wonder. I studied Daryl Coley. I studied Donny Hathaway. I studied all of these people. And I noticed the difference in what they were doing. But all of them had that one thing. Yeah. And that one thing was they could capture your heart no matter what they were singing.
Wow.
So I'm like, Lord, if you can give me that, wow. And so it wasn't until I have to give her props because Miss Brenda Waters, who was one of the choir directors of the Southeast Inspirational Choir, it was a youth choir. Okay. She told me, she said, you have something really special, honor it. And so I was like 14, 15 years old when she said that. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. It's because you don't know. Yeah. I was 17 years old. And Betty Ransom Nelson, she's Church of God in Christ. She's mother in the Church of God in Christ. I had just finished singing. The power of God moved through the room. Our choir came down and she held me by my shoulders. I thought I was in trouble at first. She held me by my shoulders and she started speaking in tongues. And she said, the difference in you is the anointing. Mm-hmm. Cherish that.
It's true.
Cherish that because you will make a difference in the world. And I'm just like, oh my God. Because remember, I'm this little Baptist girl. I'm not Church of God in Christ. And that was when Church of God in Christ and Baptists were at war with each other. Now we go into the same nail shops and everything else, So, and so she held me. She said, that was just so powerful. And that was God in you. Remember, God is in you. Remember, God is in you. She kept speaking in tongues. And that day I realized, okay, there's something different. Wow. There's something different because I had seen her. I mean, she sang all over the world with Mattie Moss Clark, and she went all over the world with the Church of God in Christ. They were over in Africa a lot and stuff. And so, I just thought, it was a regular day. How are you, doctor? I'm good, that's how she would respond. But this day she held me and she started speaking. It was almost as though that was the seal that I needed, sealing the deal, so to speak, that I needed to know that God had this special thing on me and I had to protect it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I had to be diligent with it.
Good
And
stuff.
I had to look at it as though it's something that needs to be protected,
Good.
you know, and that I couldn't just do anything and I couldn't just say anything, because whatever I sang or said directly represented God.
Good God. I think you're helping women all over again.
Oh,
Um,
good.
I think women need to hear. They know, everyone knows they're born with something God intended them to.
Yes.
But are you going to be intrepid enough to get up and do it? And
Yeah.
that's the question I think we all have to ask ourselves. I say to myself every day, how bad do you want it? Whatever that
Yeah.
it is. And
Mm-hmm.
you can't get it being sedentary. You can't get it blaming everybody else for the reason why you're not there yet. You can't get it always, sitting around and having a woe is me party. Get up and get it done. So I'm so
Yeah.
glad you said that you were willing to work on your craft. No
Oh,
matter
yeah.
if someone spoke into your life, if you weren't willing
Mm-hmm.
to work on it, we wouldn't see the Yolanda Adams we see today.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to do this last little thing. I call it my little favorite segment. And
Okay.
I'm just going to ask you, what's your favorite? Before I do that, I want to say this quote of yours that I just love so much, because this is another, my daily mantra. Happiness is a mood. It's not a mood. It's a choice. It's
Yeah.
a habit. It's a way of life. And then you
Mm-hmm.
end that quote with, so be happy I am.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I remind myself, happy is the man whose God is the Lord. He wants us to be happy. If he's my Lord, I should be happy. And so
Yeah.
I love that that's your quote. But what are your favorite things? So who's your favorite singer?
Wow. Today,
Mhm.
my favorite singer would probably be, what did I just listen to? I listened to something the other day and I'm like, oh my God, I love that song. Oh, Brian McKnight.
Oh,
Brian McKnight has this song called Nobody, and it's this beautiful wedding song
okay.
about nobody else will kiss your lips, nobody else will hug you tight, nobody else will so and so and so on this day I choose you, something like that. And so it's one of his wedding songs off his new album.
Nice.
So Brian McKnight today.
Okay. That might change, everybody.
Yes, it might.
What's your favorite movie?
Oh my gosh, there's several. My very favorite that I always look at, period, is probably, and y'all gonna get me on this,
Oh, I can't wait.
Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure.
No way. No way.
Can I tell you, from the top of it to the bottom of it, I can recite it verbatim. It's
Wow.
crazy. Yeah, and that was before he got in trouble too. So
Right before. But I think you that was not a good thing. But the movie's A Sweet Innocence. It's such
yeah, it is. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that we
Right.
don't have today. What's your pet peeve?
Pet peeve is one of them definitely is lying to me. You
Huh?
don't have
That's
to.
why we're sisters. I can
You
take
don't have to.
Yes.
Just tell me the truth. Either I'm a big girl and I can take it,
Yes.
or I'll just have to deal with it.
Yes.
But don't lie. You never have to lie, because I'm not gonna lie to you.
So good. Listen, I told my husband we dated for 7 years. I met him when I was 15. And
Aww.
and we've been together ever since. And that was my first thing. I can
Yeah.
take a lot of things. Just
Yeah.
always remember to tell me the truth. Even if you
Mhm.
think I'm not going to handle it well, or if I
Right.
like it. And what I told him now in our adult life, give me permission to not like it. I cannot
Yeah.
like it. I can't respond ungodly, but I cannot like it. But just
Yeah.
truth.
Exactly.
So, what is your most inspiring favorite moment of all time?
Wow. Has to be that moment that I found out I was pregnant,
Wow.
because I was 39
Wow.
and I had no idea. I just thought I was going to be the greatest aunt in the world and just take my nieces and nephews all around the world and spoil them. And I found out leaving California, coming to DC.
Wow. She is, and I've said it before, Taylor is just a beautiful, graceful, and I'm glad she's graduating for Howard. And I can't wait to see what God does with her.
I know, me too. Yeah.
What he does with her. That's the beauty of watching these children grow. Like, oh, what's he going to do?
Exactly.
And lastly, who is the most inspiring person ever to touch your life?
Wow. I would definitely have to say my mother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because my mother went through a lot. Okay. You know, she married the love of her life when she was at TSU. That's our Texas Southern University. My dad was a track star, and they got married in 1960. I showed up in 1961.
Bishop told me not to say your year, so that's why she was born August 27th. He said, "Don't say her year. Don't."
Girl, I'm fine with it. You know, like I said, hey, I still have the energy that I had when I was 35. I'm cool with that. I'm fine.
But go ahead.
But she, and then you know, they had some more of my brothers and sisters, but she became at 35 a widow with 6 kids.
Oh, Yolanda.
Yeah. And I mean, and my dad was in a horrific car accident. So it wasn't like, you know, he had been sick or anything like that. No, he was in a bad car. So instantly she became a widow with 6 kids. When I tell you, I saw my mom, because she's gone on to be with the Lord. I saw my mom get up. She was a school teacher. She was a language arts, what do they call those language arts experts? A linguist, something like that. She taught at one of our Catholic dioceses for almost 30 years. And so she really embodied work ethic. She embodied family oriented to the T, because she was an only child. And so that's why, you know, it was interesting that she had like 6 kids. It's like, wow. That was funny. Right. And so she embodied that. I saw my mom take in some of my friends whose grants had not come through. And once they got their housing and you know, and their grants and stuff like that, she'd like, hey, you don't owe me anything. Just go on to school, do what you do. I saw my mom do that. I saw my mom, even with 6 kids, help other kids, you know, and when their parents would kick them out and stuff like that. My mom was a phenomenal woman. And my brother and I were talking the other day. He's like, you know, when I started talking about mom to people, they're like, your mom used to do all of that? He said, I realized we had such a wonderful mother. I said, yeah. Now, she wasn't going to let you get away with nothing. You know, while she's saving the world, right. She ain't letting you get away with nothing. And we had fun, you know. We had such a wonderful childhood. We don't have any, you know, any things like child abuse with, you know, whippings and all of that kind of stuff. Now, you got whippings, but, you know, she didn't string you up with, you know, extension cord, nothing like that.
Right.
But, you know, it was such a great house. You didn't want to do anything, you know? Wow. And so the most inspiring woman to me will always be my mother.
That's incredible.
She was a consummate every woman.
Wow. Well, I hate to leave you because you're just so wonderful. But that segues me to my end, because I don't think we have more in common than you think, because we have a similar story. My dad died. My mom, the day my dad was supposed to meet my mom at the doctor's, my dad never made it to the doctor's appointment. And my mom thought she had the flu, and she ended up being pregnant. And so the day my dad died, he was already at the hospital. Unbeknownst to us, he was already pronounced dead. Same moment my mom found out she was pregnant. And so she had to raise, it wasn't 6 of us, it was 3 of us. But I admire her. She's my hero, my everything. So
Yeah.
I love that we have that in common. But Yolanda, you are the epitome of what a godly woman should be.
Thank you.
That's just the truth. And when I was thinking about doing this interview with you, I was like, wow, God, you've been so good to her, because so many people have reached the pinnacle of success that you have, but couldn't maintain a peace and joy and love and happiness, because it's what we talked about at the top of this conversation. They were
Yeah.
missing God. They
Yeah.
were really missing a relationship, because people can go to church. That doesn't give you a relationship with God. You can read the Bible or quote the scripture. That doesn't give you a relationship with God. So I'm honored to call you my sister. I'm honored to call you my friend. And I'm honored to call you my soror. That's why I wore pink for you today, because you are my soror.
Yes, I am.
Pink for my girl. But we have something coming to you, so you'll get a text from me, because I'll need don't shake your head. Let me tell you something. Anybody that asks you to do anything and don't pay you, tell them to call me, because they got it twisted.
First of all, you give the best gifts in the world. I don't even know what I'm going to be getting. It's so crazy. I'm like, okay, all right. I'm grateful, and I want you to know, and I want everybody that's watching this to know that I do realize how similar our lives are, and that, we're both Yolanda, but spelled differently, but we have the same concept of family. We have the same concept of ministry. And, we don't care who you are. You can be green, purple, pink. It doesn't matter. If you are a human being, you got here through the love of God.
Yeah.
So we're not going to treat you any different than we would treat anybody else. And I love that about you. And God knows that I am so thankful that he put you as one of my in the pocket prayer partners, because you already know. And I've told you before, there were times when you say, hey, sis, I'm praying for you on such and that. And I always text you back and say, how did you know?
Yeah.
I'm about to go into contract negotiations.
Right.
God knows.
Yeah, it's never
God
us.
knows.
It's never us.
Yes.
We're not that wise.
Exactly.
So you look beautiful. Your hair is, I'm like, listen, I should have had Steve Harvey on this end so he could copy.
You are crazy.
Your skin is flawless. Your hair is,
you.
You are exactly what I pray every woman looks like, and she finds some type of bravery within through something
that's good.
And that she finds some need to get up and do better, be a better person. Because if God can take you to the places he's taken you and allow you to see things you see, and you remain this sweet and humble and awesome, you can do the same thing for them. So
oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, so may he bless you. May he continue to bless Taylor.
Thank you.
I don't have to say it, because after you sing in the stadium and for the president, I don't need to tell you whatever your hands touch turn to gold. It's already turned to gold. I don't know I don't even know why I'm your prayer partner. We need to reverse this. You need to pray for.
No, you know why? You know why? You get those prayers through, girl. Look, God listens to you.
I do. Now that's the thing. My husband tells me that all the time. I get a prayer through to heaven. That's.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Love you sincerely.
I love you too.
You are the best, and I'm glad you kicked this off with me. Have a wonderful day, and I'll text you whenever the Lord tell me to pray. But I do need an address so I can send you something special.
Gotcha.
I love you.
I love you too. Bye, y'all.